Hello? Welcome to the stream. Hello? How are we today? Welcome everybody to the critique stream. So today we're going to be looking at some lovely illustrations, some lovely designs, some lovely comic pages. I should also start off by saying, because I'm sure some of you are here and wondering, if you would like your own work critiqued, whether it be your comic script, inks, pencils, colored pages, whatever it is, or character designs, setting designs, pieces of prose. If you would like any of that critiqued by me or Bones, you can sign up for our Patreon. There should be a link down below. Yeah. So, if you're interested, there you go. That will do it. Oh, dang. Hi, Fitz. You have a very big message. I don't know what it is, but I have it. Hell yes. Fancy message. There you go. You can break through all the noise. So yeah, welcome everybody. Hi, Briar. Hi, Fitz. Hi, Stardust. Hi, Doku. The Rabbit God. My goodness. Luna. Zap. Clad. Brightside. My goodness, my goodness. Hello. Okay. Let's get into it. Sorry to ask, is it okay if I go early? For sure, we could do yours first. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. So, let's do it. Oh shit, oh. There we go. Go second or third? Sure. So yeah, let's do Clad's and then Fitz's and then we can figure the rest out. Okay, so, let me just find your comments, Clad. What did you say? Let me see. Okay. Okay, so the left side is the page as it is now. The right side is the line for how I hope the reader's eye will follow the action. Okay. Do you feel it's accurate? Is the page supposed to take them... Sorry, the page is supposed to take them from inside the castle, through the forest, to the edge of the village in the valley. Is this clear? Okay, so there's a plan for sound effects, for their feet running. Medica's hiding upstairs again. Okay, trouble. Okay, wondering about sound effects, about what gray tones to add. Okay, so having trouble adding tones to the two panels for 2 and 3 without it drowning out. Okay, and you want to show that it's nighttime. Okay, awesome. Lots of good questions. Okay, so... Hello, welcome. Welcome, new people. Okay, so... I found with the I'll start with the flow. So you've got your red line for how you're hoping things will be read. So I think the bottom half, the flow works really nicely. The top half I think needs a couple of adjustments. Yeah, so this first panel I think does a good job of bringing us from the top corner down to here. So right where my cursor is, on the right side. But I find, because of the movement of the two characters in the second panel, they're going left to right. I find that it shoots me off the page. It like instead of bringing me like over to the left side again, I feel like it puts me here, like on the right side, and then I follow down this middle panel that's slashing through everything. So I think there just needs to be something here that brings you back to the left side. Like, I like where they're placed, and I understand like pushing them, having them face the left side so that you still have that forward momentum. But I would... There just needs to be something. You could have maybe like the trees here cutting over the top of this panel, or you could add some sort of, you could use text, so like the sound effect to kind of bring your eye back towards the left. But yeah, there's just something missing right here that needs to lead you back to the left side, if that makes sense. Trees cutting into the panel is a good idea. Awesome. Yeah, give it a try. Try a few things, see what works. I find the bottom panels work. The one thing I'd say about this top-down panel here in the corner, I feel you mentioned it earlier where you're having trouble with some of the contrast, but it just feels like it's very empty here down at the bottom half, and I think whether that's filling it in with tones or like black and white, or a black fill, I mean, would help, because I feel like their motion running, you could even tilt it up a little bit so it heads to this panel with the foot, or use some kind of background elements to kind of point you into that like curve upward. But I just need something down here at the bottom because it feels very empty as it is. And you could utilize background elements or black fill to really push the focus. Yeah, I definitely get the movement. I think you do a good job of showing them leaving the castle and then arriving elsewhere. Arriving at the village. So I think you do a good job there. I wouldn't change too much. I think it's clear what's happening. Yeah, I think for the sound effect, using like tap tap probably works well, because they're, yeah, yeah, I think doing... Yeah, because that to me sounds like bare feet or like light shoes running on the ground. Tap, tap, tap. That should probably work. Since I only have 2 tones of gray, I already used the darker gray at the bottom layer. I'm afraid of adding more gray. That will make it muddy. Yeah, there's a bit of concern with that. Thump thump could work too. Oh, true. True. I feel like tup could work too, like T-U-P instead of T-A-P. Tup, tup, tup. But, yeah, I might recommend tump tump. Oh yeah, that could work too. Many options. That's true. That's a blessing and a curse when there's too many options. Yeah, I think maybe for this bottom panel, the yeah, I'm deliberating between, you could try, instead of using the gray tones in this bottom panel, you could be using like black, really stark black shadows, similar to like how you shaded in the trees off in this corner here. Like using that really stark contrast. For shadows, maybe making some of these lines bolder and they get thinner as they go towards the focal point of the twins. Another option is you could have this gray tone gradient from this dark gray into a black for the bottom half, and then you'd be free to use the gray tones inside the these panels. Yeah, I think everything reads as nighttime to me. Just from the use of like the night sky, and I really like the use of this like textured gradient in the background of this last panel. I think there's enough indicators that it's like nighttime during this scene. I'd also recommend for this top panel adding in some more black shadows. Like I really like the use of the white for all the highlights and for the light shining in from the doorway. You might still be working on it. But yeah, but I'd recommend adding in maybe some dark shadows to kind of highlight like the backs of these benches or platforms or what they are. And maybe to just kind of highlight the twins a little bit more, just adding in some texture and shadow in the back. Yeah, exactly. Gives it more contrast. Yeah. I'd also, again, I feel like you're still adding to this, but I'd recommend filling in these trees with like the gradient or black shadows and stuff, just to create more depth, because they stand out a lot. Yeah. Oh. Ah, he's bullying me. Writing down all the tips. I agree. The line work and texture is very lovely. Yeah, let me check your notes in case I missed anything else. Does the page feel dramatic? Yes, I would say so. It feels very full of emotion, like they feel very frantic. Like not knowing what's happening previous to this page, it feels like they've been like scolded or caught doing something bad, and they're running away. It feels like very emotional, like they're running to hide, especially with like you know, one of them watching while the other one's going into this building, and just from the expressions and the very dark, moody atmosphere, it feels very kind of frantic and shameful, their emotions. Yeah, and it's lots of good motion, lots of good action. Yeah, and very moody with all of the shadow work. Yeah, so hopefully that's what you're conveying. That's what I'm picking up. I feel some sort of way looking at it. Hell yeah. Oh, the wood could make a creaking sound. True. With them opening the doors. You could add in sounds of them panting, like huff huff. Or huff puff. Or ha. Heck yeah, feeling good, getting something right. I wanted it to feel a little scary. Yeah, definitely. Feels very dramatic. Did you have any other questions? What font would you use for the sound effects? Hey Bones. Hi Manica. Guys, Matica's trembling over paper. Can you believe her? Oh, honey. Are the cats scaring you? Oh. How dare. Think I'm good? A quick one today? Awesome. Well, great work, Clad. I like your panel layouts. They're always so dramatic. They're so cool. Not dramatic. Dynamic. That's the word. Dynamic. Manica, Maguka is suffering, you know? Constant suffering. She leaped over the back of the couch to sit with Bones. There was room for her to go to the front. And okay. Yeah, she decided when there was no room on the couch, she would leap over the side and cannonball onto the couch. Onto Bones. Honey, come here. Oh. She's having trouble. Go to your bed. Everyone send Matica good vibes. Go to your bed, baby. Go to your bed, sweetheart. Yeah. Here you go. sleeping on Bones' sweater instead of the bed that we have for her, or the couch, or the carpets that we put down for the pets to sleep on.
Frickin' Ethan's on the frickin' thing, fapping around the ginger ale, scaring the shit out of Monica.
Miko! There's cat drama and dog drama today. My goodness. Good vibes. Yes, thank you. Send her good vibes. And send Miku bad vibes. She's a bad cat. Okay. Next is Vince. Oh, not that one. Oh, wait. I wanted to... Oh, I should do that while I remember, because Briar asked for me to look at the character designs.
Stop going upstairs. Get back here.
Goodbye, Madoka. We'll miss you. Okay.
You're just gonna cry upstairs. Come on.
There we go.
Come on. I'm just trying to work.
Yeah, Madoka. I'm working, Madoka, and you're causing trouble. How dare you? There. Just wants to be near Mom and Dad. Chaos. Okay. Alright, so Fitz, my friend. First being the design of my comic character Milo, I wanted to try changing the design to have a fantasy vibe. I've only gotten to his so far. Okay. Okay. Where did you find the name Madoka? It's from Madoka Magica, which is an anime. We're big weebs, okay? Listen. Okay. So I think she just wants to lay in the hallway upstairs. Okay. So I really like the hood for Milo. It's so cute. It gives a very I did. What am I saying here? It gives a very like light, kind of windiness to the design, especially with the hood up. I tried to draw the design in a way that would be possible for comics, so I didn't add much detail. Yeah, definitely. I like how it's very simple. I think it'll lend well to comics. Like, there's lots of details that add a lot of interest to the design, and I like the use of different shapes and very unique details. But it still seems like simple enough to be able to redraw for your comic quite a few times. But yeah, I really like the hood. It gives this very floaty kind of feel to the design. And I think you can utilize it a lot for like motion in your comic, which is awesome. I think it's interesting with the clothes. There's like two opposing aesthetics kind of happening. Sorry, what am I thinking here? I thought it'd be fun to use the hood like Ghibli hair. Yes, I like that. Right, there's kind of two opposing shapes and aesthetics kind of going on. So with like the cuffs of his sleeves and his boots and the hood, there's this very kind of circusy, maybe not circusy, more like jestery kind of like fantasy kind of feel to it. And then the coat itself, just because of the cut of it and these two buttons and like the slant, and the way it's hemmed and stuff, it feels very like militaristic to me. It just makes me think of like an old like military uniform. And then the shorts are very like sports, kind of basketball-y looking shorts. So I feel like you could make, like, I feel like the coat fits like closer into the aesthetic of like the kind of the surrounding elements, but I find the shorts are very out of place. I feel like it could be changed with like changing the shape maybe. Altering the coat might also help make them fit in a bit more. It's a sci-fi modern aesthetic. I wanted the colors and some of the aspects to sort of reflect in that. I see. Yeah, because you don't want to go too like full fantasy because he might like not work in the setting. I feel like the undershirt with like the high collar, for me it feels very it strikes me as more kind of like modern sci-fi-esque. So I think that works really well. Yeah. I'm not sure. It might just be the shape that's going on with the shorts, but they're not quite fitting in with the rest of the design. Oh, I wanted to say I really like his hair. It's really cute. I like the shapes used in the hair. There's just something very, I don't know. There's just something satisfying about all the little points and stuff. They're kind of rounded off. It adds like a lot of visual interest around the face, and I love I love his eyes. I love the brightness to them and how it matches like other parts of his outfit, and it's got a very like glowy gradient cuteness going on. Yeah, because I think it's like it's close. It's just there's something off a little bit. Was there anything else for this one that you were wondering about? Like, I don't know, style or coloring or anything like that that you're wondering about, or anything I didn't cover. I also think you're doing really well with the expressions and the posing. I should also mention that. His face feels very balanced, because I know there's been struggles in the past with like sometimes proportioning the face, but it feels very balanced. Everything feels very like in perspective. So you did a really good job with that. Coloring and style, would be good to hear your thoughts. Okay, the colors I think work really well. You've got good contrast going on throughout with the intense like yellow pops throughout. And then just good contrast but with dark colors and light colors. The only place where I think you might be able to add like a little bit more contrast is around his like face and hair. I think his hair needs to just be like a skosh darker. Just because it's very close in tone to the very close in value to his skin. So that might help you out with just a bit more contrast. But color choices really strong. The style, I really like the close-up version of him. I like how you've got some more, just because it is a close-up, you've got some room for like more little details in the line work. The lines feel a bit more in proportion to the drawing, if that makes sense. Like I find in the smaller doodles, the lines, not everywhere, but here and there, feel like a little bit thick. But I find like with this close-up, it feels very well balanced. Yeah, because it looks like the lines are all consistent like throughout all the different pictures on this page. Yeah, so that just might be something to consider when you're doing maybe like more pulled out shots like within the comic, like maybe using a slightly thinner brush. It's hard to say though, you'd have to see kind of what you like. Yeah, it's hard because like when you're working on a comic, you kind of want to use like a consistent brush size where you can, just so things don't feel like way off between panels or between pages. But sometimes you do need to like go in with a finer brush just to get the details. Or use a really thick brush when something's like really close up or dramatic. Yeah, exactly. Was there anything else? Anything I didn't cover? That's good for this one? Awesome. Okay, for the next one, let me see. What were the notes? Character on the left is Peregrine. He's a god in a prose thing I'm writing. The other character is Win. It's meant to be sacrificed to a different god before Peregrine spirited him away. Feedback on the shading specifically, but anything that stands out. Okay, awesome. All right. I really like the use of different like colors and gradients on the on like the robe he's wearing. It's very subtle and very nice. Like it adds like a very good texture to the clothing, which is very lovely. Yeah, and I like how you've still been able to like add kind of shadows and highlights and stuff on top, where it has this kind of like glossy texture to it. It's like shinier than like other fabrics, like for example like the shirt he's wearing underneath. So that's a really nice effect just by using different like highlights throughout and different shadows and gradients and the color shifts and textures underneath. It's a really nice effect. I really like the work on the hair. I like how you've got, again, it has just like this really nice glossy texture where I like how you've gone in and you've done, some kind of subtle changes between, like the shadows and the highlights. Instead of just doing like one swath of a shadow, I like how you've gone in and added some, like, I guess, like building up and layers to it. It creates a bit of volume. I really like the colors you've chosen. It feels like, in the hair colors, I'm not sure if it's just the yellow coming through from the clothing that's like informing it, but it feels like there's like a little bit of warmth to the highlights in his hair, and then the shadows are more cool. So I think that's a nice touch. Yeah, same with like the face and the shading on the rest of it. I like how you've done some like steps and gradients in between different in between like shadows and highlights. I would say there's a bit of separation from the hair and the skin. Just because you've got some really warm shadows going on in the skin. Like it's all this, kind of pinkish red that's coming through from the rest of the, like, the clothing. So I think that, like, it works really well that way where you're bringing in colors from other parts of the design, to create that, like, cohesive color palette. But I find because the shadows on the hair are so cool, it like, it feels detached, I guess. Like you've got the shadows and lighting in the right place where it feels like, like the placement of shadows and highlights and stuff works. It's just the colors feel like they need to be made a bit more cohesive. Yeah, whether that's bringing in like more cool tones into the skin as well, or bringing some more kind of like warmth into the hair. Yep, exactly, like you were saying. Bringing in cooler stuff elsewhere. Yeah, I use more layers than I usually have when I shaded this. It looks really nice. It adds a lot of depth, I find. I'd also watch with the hand. It's very large, in comparison to the rest of him, and I think it's making the forearm a little stunted. So I'd make the hand smaller and extend the forearm a little bit. Just something to watch out for. I realized a bit late. Oh, fair. It happens to everybody. With me, I draw heads too big. So I'm not one to talk. Is this first come, first serve, or have you already picked? Yeah, we've already picked. So if you would like your stuff reviewed, you need to sign up for our Patreon. There should be a link down below if you're interested or just want to take a look. And yeah, we can look at your stuff next month. This is all the lovely work of our Patreon supporters. Yeah, I think there's some kind of perspective stuff that's off with the shirt here. Because it feels, if I just look at the shirt, it feels very balanced. Like, it feels like it makes sense to, because it's kind of like squared off, if that makes sense, and each kind of corner touches these two flower designs, and then you've got like the tassels hanging down, and like the placement of the flowers and the placement of the collar makes sense on the torso. But I find looking at the undershirt and the placement of the character's neck, it feels like it's been pushed to the left side like a little bit too far, where there's like tons of like white showing here, and then there's very little over here, and just the neck is very close to this side of the shoulder. So I think just be careful with that, keeping the neck in the center, in this case moving it to the right a bit more, and ensuring that the clothing feels balanced. Because if I just look at the undershirt and the collar and stuff, it feels like the shirt's been like pulled to the side like this. Does that make sense? Hi, Carl. Yeah. Shoulder to neck placement is tricky for me. Fair. I've also struggled with it in the past. It feels very balanced on the other character. It's definitely hard when you do the 3/4 turn. Cause like one side is like compressed and the other one might be like feel broader and stuff. So it can be weird to like figure out where to place things. Draw a little robo bean just to make sure the neck is centered usually. Yes. Shoulder to neck placement is, oh sorry, it's meant to be to the side a little. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think to get that effect, yeah, I feel like to get that effect, you'd need to like move like the flower and the collar at the front a little bit, so it's like more skewed, because it feels very balanced with like the flower and stuff over here. So it's just like it would need some minor tweaks. Did you want me to talk about the other character? I know you mentioned to possibly ignore it, but I can go over them if you'd like. Why are you yelling? Maguka. Honey, come here. Come here. Do you want to be on stream? Come on. They can see your leg. Hi, baby. Come here. Oh. Okay. Oh, right, because you were going to submit something else. Okay, so as for this character, yeah, I think you've done a good job with, like, the balance and proportion on this one. I really like the way you've, kind of modeled the form with these two, like, tassel collar pieces. Where yeah, just having the line really follow the different planes of like the front of the chest and then kind of the drop looks really nice. I think you've done really good modeling on the fabric here. yeah, you've done a good job with like adding little details to the fabric. I find the drapery works better on the torso piece where like hey, you've got like some little folds at the back, you've got showing kind of like the looseness of the fabric draping off like the front. And then over the hip and stuff, you've got some nice little ruffles going on. So that looks like really nice. Um, it feels like you lost a little bit of that with the sleeves, where they feel like they're made of totally different fabric. Because this feels very like loose and like gossamery. Where it drapes really well, whereas here it feels like a stiffer fabric that would be more puffy. So I would like just not just do like a similar effect to the sleeves where you'd have that kind of that drapery-ness to them. They'd be more flowy rather than this kind of puffiness, if that makes sense. The arms were more of an afterthought. That's fair. Um um yeah, I really like the frills on the collar. I think for the like the upper part of the collar, I'd like to see that same kind of like triangular frill stuff you've got going on instead of this more rounded one. Just because like they feel very different, and you've got this very kind of straight line aesthetic going on for this character. So I'd like to see that follow through with like the collar piece, just to match the other shapes. Yeah. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, overall like nice colors. Good color work, lots of good contrast. Yeah, and good modeling of forms. Yeah, did you have any other questions on these two? Do their faces look? Good. You again, like I think their faces look very proportional. I think I think there's something a little bit off going on in his face here, where like the far eye, I don't know, I think it's both of his eyes. They feel very widespread, like very far apart on the face. And I feel like this eye is like tilted a little bit too much to be like in line with this eye. Yeah, the wide set eye thing, it depends on what you want, because like some characters do have the more wide set eyes, which is fine. But yeah, but they feel a little bit out of line. I'm also not sure about the mouth. It also feels like it's a little bit off misaligned with the face. But it might just be like the eye placement that's throwing things off. As for Peregrine, I think the eyes are a little bit off, are also a little bit tilted in comparison to the face. So the eyes feel very, they're aligned very like straight horizontally, whereas his face has like a little bit more of a tilt to it, if that makes sense. So I think they just need to be like shifted a little bit to match up with the nose and mouth and the face. But shape-wise, like everything else looks good. It looks in proportion to itself, if that makes sense. But yeah, just a little bit. The tilt is a little bit off. How do I get you to see my design to critique? You can join our Patreon. So there should be a link down below, and if you sign up, we are able to look at your designs, your comics, your scripts, whatever art and writing stuff you need us to look at. Yeah, and there should be more information on the Patreon. Awesome. So Fitz, yeah, let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to cover. That's good. Awesome. Well, thanks for submitting. All right, who would like to go next? We have quite a few people. So we have Briar. We have Stardust. We have Ink, Kuro, Alice. Who would like to go next? Yay! Welcome back, Tuesday. It's good to see you with your little mod wrench. Don't mind when you go? Do you want to go now, Briar? Or Kuro? You guys can battle it out. Who wants to go first? We'll do Briar's first. We'll do Briar's and then we'll do Kuro's. Or Alice. Okay, we'll do Briar, then Kuro, then Alice. Okay. Alright, so let's start with this first illustration. So yeah, so you're looking for critique on proportions, backgrounds, line quality, and the color palettes. So I want to say, Briar, I love the colors for this comic. Like, because I've seen this and I've seen the page you submitted from it. And the colors are so delicious. They're so colorful, and I love how like aligned it all feels. Like you've got these like really warm oranges and yellows going through, and then you've got these like they're like very cool pinks. Like they've got a lot of blue in them, but they feel so warm in comparison to like this like teal, turquoisey, blue green, and this really blue purple. And it's just really delicious colors that you've got going through these. And they all like they feel very harmonious. They work really well together. Yeah, so lovely. Yeah, and I really like how I think in general you've got a very good sense of like where to use your colors. I really like how the really bright warm of like the orange of her hair and like her pants and skin and shoes and just everything. It's very the colors on your main character are very bright and they're very light in comparison to the more kind of the darker colors you've got going through the back. So it really like pulls her to the front, makes her stand out against everything. It's good. You got a good balance there. And yeah, and I really like how you've kept a lot of your like oranges and pinks and reds in the background. They're very saturated, so they still feel bright and they still match, but you've darkened them down a bit. And I really like it. There's a few places where I think you've got some contrast issues that are kind of pulling some elements more into the background, like the table and the stool she's sitting on in particular. They're very desaturated, which I think helps keep them as background elements. Like they don't conflict with the main character, which is like where the focus is going. But they blend into the background quite a bit, and I think it's because they're a very similar like value to the background. Like they're both like if you look at this purple in the back and then the kind of gray bluey brown of the table, like they're very similar in value. So I'd recommend like honestly like bringing some of that intenseness into the table that you've got with the main character, like brightening it up. You could also darken it so it really stands out against the background. Yeah, just playing around with the contrast a little bit. Having lots of trouble with that. Yeah. It can be tricky. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what you could do with that color. I might almost like really darken it just to create some balance with like this dark kind of purple going on up here. Like really bringing in that darkness to it would really make it stand out, because everything around here is very like kind of bright and light. And I think it would bring even more attention to your character by like really darkening it. Yeah, I love all the little details throughout with the cats and like the cards and the textures, and the sign and the mirror in the back. It's all just really nice. You've got lots of details going on. There's some little things I'd be careful with. I do like how you're using like this colored line art. I would recommend though, you'll notice it especially with this like tree design in the background, is you've got like, it almost kind of like hurts your eye to look at the, that sounds really mean. But with the contrast between the red of your the inks versus the, so it's like this really like saturated red, and then you've got this really saturated kind of like greeny blue, and they're just like interacting weird, so like it messes with your eyes a little bit. So I'd recommend, I think you either need to darken or lighten the line art, like going through with like maybe like just a slightly darker brown or red, just to get some good contrast between those colors. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. If I sign up for your Patreon right now, can I get my characters in for this stream? No, we do them a month ahead. So yeah, like Kuro said, you would be in for the next month's stream. Just because it takes us a bit of time to like prep and get thoughts, so we're not just giving you crappy answers for things. Yeah, okay, so hopefully that stuff makes sense. But yeah, love the little details, love the colors. Yeah, love the posing. There's a lot of movement in the character. I love the line work. Like, I like how you've got, like, I love all the little, like, etching lines for the, like, the hair and the brows and, like, the texture on the table. It's all just so nice. It's good stuff. I think another little thing to be careful about is I think, like, I really like how you've got this, like, texture to all your line work and to, like, a lot of the coloring. It feels very... almost, like, painterly, I guess, if that makes sense. Like, you've just got, like, really good textures on everything. And I find the effect on the crystal ball, where you're using a bit more of, like, a hazy, kind of, like, blurred effect to the lines. It feels kind of out of place and a little distracting. I might recommend you use the same treatment for these, like, little shiny lines as you did for, like, your other lines, just because it feels a little bit out of place. Yeah, it just feels very different for the rest of the piece. It's hard because you are using very, like, flat colors for everything. I guess you've got, like, a little bit of gradient and stuff going on, like on the carpet. You'll see in the back here there's a bit of a gradient going on. But I'd like to see maybe some, like, light reflecting. Oh, and you've got, like, light showing in the... through this kind of, like, etching look on the mirror and stuff. But I'd like to see kind of the same effect from the crystal ball, where we're seeing, like, the reflection of it in the teacup, or highlights on her hands and, like, the bottom of her face and stuff, and on the table. I think that would really help, like, step it up even farther. I was excited to use the perspective blur tool. Fair, totally fair. But yeah, this looks great. I love the very, like, 70s aesthetic to everything. I think making the crystal ball look different adds to the mysticism. That is true. That is a technique you can use. Having it feel very different, yeah, can make it feel otherworldly, where it, like, doesn't quite fit in with the rest of the aesthetic, because it's a different thing, if that makes sense. So yeah, I can see that going the same way, also working. Yeah, so let me know if you have any other questions, Briar. Hum hum hum. Hum hum hum. I love the cats. They're so cute. Are you able to make out the figure on the left? Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, I especially really like the way the shoes are, like, placed. He's peeking out a bit. Yeah, like, I love the placement of the shoes in particular. They feel very grounded in the scene. Yeah, and I like how it's, like, he's very subtly in the scene. Yeah. That's my only question? Awesome. Okay, so we can look at your character designs. All the hands and feet we're cutting off gotta go somewhere. Exactly. Okay, so I'm assuming these are characters from the comic. Okay. So... Oh no, the bots are here. I forgot to write their names. Oh no. Oh, you did write them. Steph is the knight, and Luminista, aka Tawny, is the fortune teller. Okay. So Steph, yeah, I like the mix. Main guy's Steph, or sorry, this guy's Steph, and the main character is Tawny. Okay. Yeah, I like the mix up. You mentioned there's like a kind of mix of like 70s vibe and like medieval stuff. Yeah, I really like it. This, like, he looks like he stepped out of like a 1970s movie. Yeah, especially with... There's something about the belt that is so 70s. Like, I can just imagine, like, yeah, just those that old kind of style really showing through with that. Yeah, I think I'm also getting some 80s vibes just with the haircut. As well as that, like, the jacket and glove combo, but maybe that's just like I'm thinking of yeah, that like post-apocalyptic cowboy kind of look. That's I think I'm also thinking of The Breakfast Club, like that the one guy, you know, the guy who wears the gloves and has the long shaky hair. The belt is important to the story. Oh, nice. Well, I like it. It stands out quite a bit. He's just fashion forward. Bender, right. It's been a while since I watched that movie. But yeah, I really like the combo with the jacket and the jeans and the gloves and stuff. I think I forgot about the Breakfast Club boy. I think the one issue with the shoulder plates, like I like the integration on the jacket. Like I really like how the little collar lapels like are over top of the armor. I think that's really cute. It's a nice little touch. I'm not sure about this piece here, the kind of sash looking thing, because I'm not sure, like, is that holding the plate armor on, or is it just aesthetic? Because it feels like if it is aesthetic, you'd probably want it attached to like a cloak underneath, and if it's holding the armor on, it feels a little flimsy, like the shoulder pieces would just come off. Yeah, so I'd play around with that a little bit. I'd also, with the sword on the back, I'd also expect to see like a strap coming across the chest, or over the shoulder or something. So that's something to add in. It's totally for holding it onto the jacket. Okay, it just feels like it feels a little bit loose. Like I might make it look a little tighter, just so that it looks like it's holding it on a little bit more snugly, if that makes sense. It's connected to one of the buttons on his jacket. Oh, that's neat. Oh, dang, I kind of like that. Oh no, you're convincing me. You're convincing me of it. It does feel like it's about to snap. Hi.
What's about to snap?
His button.
Oh no. Careful.
Be careful.
The cat just decided it was breakfast time, so I threw treats in the bathroom.
The cats decided prematurely that it was breakfast. Spoons threw treats at them and locked them away so they don't harass us. I don't know. They get hungry and then they're like, it's breakfast time right now. I will not wait a half an hour. Also, we call all of their meals breakfast. FYI. It is the afternoon right now. Oh, I don't know. I feel like you should disregard my advice because I like that explanation for the design so much. It definitely feels like it would be too flimsy to hold. Like it feels like the shoulder pieces would slip or the jacket would slip. But I like the thought process. I feel like it could work if you closed the jacket, because then it feels like it would be more secure on him. That's just something to play around with. Yeah, color palette wise, I think some of the colors could be aligned a little bit, mostly between the jeans and the shoulder plate, where the shoulder plate feels like it has a little bit more green in there, where the denim feels like a little bit more blue. I might work on aligning them a little bit. But I do like the through line of like the blue and then the warmer kind of like earthy red tones with like the jacket and the sword and his skin and hair. So I think you've got a good balance between all of those. I think I'm not sure. I'm on the fence about it because I like how you've got this kind of like pastel-y look to the colors, but I feel like there's like a little bit of contrast missing from the jacket. It feels like it either needs to be like a little bit lighter or a little bit darker. It feels like a little bit too mid-tone right now. Because like the darkest pieces of contrast are the gloves and the boots, and it feels like a lot of that is missing from like the main piece of the design. So you could do like a dark bit on the sash, the shoulder plate holder clippy thing, or you could darken the jacket. Yeah, just or the belt buckle, because I know you want to bring attention to the belt. Just something to think about, that the middle of his design is a little mid-tone and could use a bit more contrast. Yeah, does that make sense? Do you have any other questions, Briar? Good on questions? Awesome. Okay. So then looking at Tawny. Okay. Again, I love the fashion. It's so cute. Yeah, I love this first outfit with the like the bell kind of flowy sleeves, mixed with this very like 70s looking like little overall dress. It gives that like witchy vibe, while also having that kind of modern feel. It's really cute. I like how you've got the through line with her hair with the braids, where she's got the braids at the front when her hair is down, or in like a ponytail, and I really like how she's got her hair in like the twin braids. Like, that's just so cute. I think that's a really cute way to like give her different hairstyles while still making it feel cohesive to the character. My favorite bit about the critique streams is Ursula works hard to give good critique, and we just make fake lore for other people's characters. Expression on the top left. I agree. I like the expressions you're using. So I think color-wise, I like how she uses very like warm colors as kind of like her main colors, with the orange and yellow and the browns. And I really like the use of the contrasting green, like with her two outfits here, just because like that's a really great complement for the kind of orangey stuff. And I like the use of blue because that is really great for contrast with orange and yellows and stuff. The one I'm unsure about is the red, because I've noticed he uses kind of like this reddish pink throughout. It feels too cool in comparison to the oranges through the rest of her design. I might, if you want to use a red, maybe pull back on it, bring it more to like a warm orangey tone. Cause like here on this little vest thing she's wearing here, it feels more kind of in line with her main colors, but here it just feels a bit too cool. So I would be careful with that. I would also be careful with some of the contrast. The only place I really see an issue with it is uh the brown of her leggings slash tights with the blue of these boots here feels very again there's like they're very similar in value, so one either needs to be darkened or one lightened, just to add that contrast. Same with the leggings and the red, just because red's a very dark color. um there's some contrast issues there. um but yeah, I really like how you've got different outfits going, but they all feel like they belong to the same character. Like I like how she's got this kind of like circle aesthetic thing going on with like the little zipper on her dress, and then like the belt buckles, and um she's got a lot of circles in her design. Um and I like how you've been able to like switch it up and use different outfits, but it all feels very cohesive and in line with this character. Um hum hum hum. Yeah. Do you have any questions, Briar? Sleepy vibes. The overall proportions? I think overall the proportions feel very balanced. The I find the feet and hands feel a little bit big, but it feels like a stylistic choice. Especially with the boots. Just because like she's wearing these boots that have very like thick soles, which I guess gives like an illusion of like her feet looking a bit bigger. But I don't think it's a bad thing because it still feels balanced to me. Um, 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 um. Yeah, I think that's it. Because yeah. I was wondering about maybe her legs being too long, but I think that's just an illusion of the high waisted skirt and shorts and stuff. And maybe just because the feet feel a little bit large, but yeah, that's it. I think otherwise, proportionally, it looks really great. Looks really balanced. Were there any other questions? Anything else I didn't cover? That's it. Awesome. Well, thank you for submitting. Alright, so next I said was Kuro. And then Alice. Alright. Kuro, my friend. Where are your notes? Here we go. Okay, hello. 3 characters for critique. General feedback on their designs, personalities, if they fit the style they're drawn in. As this is one of 2 possible styles for their comic. Okay. The first is Lucian Carter. He's the main character. The story follows him and the Penguins football team. He made it to the national rugby team, but the bus crashed on the way to his first game and he lost his arm. Okay. So when we say football, are we talking American football? Or are we talking European football? Soccer? Okay, thank you. my little North American brain got confused. Okay. Real football. Fair. Okay. The footy, as you call it, I think. what pip pip. Okay. So, perceived personality, he seems very, like, confident and cocky. He gives me, like, kind of villainous vibes. I don't know. Maybe it's just the green, and I associate green with, like, villains. But he looks menacing to me. Or at least very kind of, like, cocky and arrogant. It's probably more accurate. Yeah, I like the aesthetic of the prosthetic he has. It's very cool looking. It matches the he can be cocky. Yeah, I like how you've got this kind of this very square aesthetic going throughout, like on the prosthetic arm, on these, I think they're bandages on his face and on his arm and stuff, and with like the watch, he's got like a very square build. His face is very square. His eyes are very square. I like how you've got this shape going through. So yeah, so I really like that. I like the use of the green throughout the design. It has some good contrast going with like the red and pink stuff going on with like his skin tone, and like the details around like on his cheeks and on the muscles and stuff. The whole style is somewhat squared. Okay, it's really neat. I like it. Yeah, I think there's a bit of... I think the red on him is clashing a little bit with the pink in the background, that pinky purple color. Just because it's very... yeah, his skin tone is very warm, where the pink in the background is very cool. So I might adjust the background to bring it to more of that kind of like warm orangey red. Yeah. I really like what you're doing with the shading. I like how you've got you've added a lot of definition to like his muscles and like on the shirt and on the hair. I like how you've got these very like kind of soft shadows going. Like I really like right in here where you've got some of the backlighting coming in, which adds a lot of like form to him. It makes his forms feel, you know, for like his torso, it's cylindrical and rounded, and having that backlight coming in really helps define the shape. And I think you got a lot of nice like subtle shadows going through and defining different shapes really well. I think all that is really lovely. I really like how you've brought in kind of the blue for the shadows on the belt and on his shirt and stuff, and even in the hair. And I think those are all just really nice touches, and I really like what you're doing with the shading. I think there's some places where it's mostly the shorts and the use of black. I noticed it on the other designs as well, but where you've got these black fills, compared to like the shading used on like his shirt and his skin, it feels very flat because you're using the white outlines for contrast, which is good because you can see like little details and stuff. But I'd like to see like a bit of a similar treatment from the shading where you add like some of that softness and show highlights and stuff. Because I noticed, jumping ahead a little bit, like I really like what you've done with this character's hair, where it's clearly like black hair, but you've got these nice like green highlights going on, and you've got that like subtle shadow gradient stuff. And I'd like to see that more in like the black fabric on them, like on his sleeves here and his pants, and then on Lucian's like pants and arm and stuff. Yeah, I'd like to see more of that because it feels more cohesive. It helps things from feeling like flattened. I learned I don't gotta shade along the edges. It depends. There's different places where you can thanks Tuesday. There's different places you can use that, but that really helps define shapes by adding that kind of backlighting. The black looked better in my head. I'm glad you tried it. Like, it's good to try out different things because you can do cool aesthetic stuff with it. But I think using the same kind of shading treatment will help you out. Yeah. I think you can also play around because I like the use of like the shadow under the chin. That's honestly, it's a bit of a personal thing where I just like those really like stark black shadows on things. So I would recommend play around with it, see if there's other places in the design where you can use that kind of extra shadow, like whether it's I don't know, under the sleeves or something. I don't know. Or use it to define like his muscles or something. I don't know. Play around with it, see if you can use it elsewhere, because I really like it and I'd like to see it kind of throughout the design as well. I'd also be careful about the highlight on his hair. I think it's a bit too light and brings a bit too much attention to itself. I'd use maybe more of the kind of subtle highlights like you got going on his shirt and his shoulder and stuff. I think that'll help you a little bit. I hate that highlight. I think it's just like a little too high contrast. I'd bring it down a little bit. I think if it was cel shaded, it would have worked. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, was there any other questions for this character? Oh, I also wanted to say I think you've come a long way with like defining shapes and working on the proportions for your characters. So I think you've done a really good job with that stuff for these designs that you submitted. Does the arm on the left look attached okay? I think so. It does come out a little bit farther than the arm on the right. So you might want to bring it in a little bit, but I think it looks attached fine. Liking my art more recently. Oh, that's awesome. That's lovely. That's such a good feeling. But yeah, you're doing a really good job. There's a lot of improvement here. Awesome. Well, let me know if you have other questions. All right, let's move on to the next character. The prosthetic looks secure. It does. It does. I didn't realize it was a prosthetic. It looks like a glove. Okay, the second is Aurora Hunter. She coaches the penguins for free. She works as a lawyer during the day. Okay. She's cute. So I read her design as very masculine. Aurora isn't a big role, but I love her. I love her too. Yeah, so like I said before, I really like the shading you used on the hair. Lots of good modeling of the forms. I really like, you can tell it's black hair, but you've brought in the green. What am I saying? Yeah, I like how it's black, but you brought in the green. And like I said, I'd like to see that on the other fabric, but I've already said all that. Again, I really like the shading you're using. I like the gradients, like showing the inside of the collar. I really like the way you shaded the yellow and gold on here, where you've used like more of a greeny, like lemony yellow for like the main color, and then you've brought in this kind of red for the shadows. It gives this really like gold effect. It looks really nice. Yeah, great work with the shading on these. Top tier design. I agree. Yeah, I love the use of like triangles through her design. It comes across very strong. Really great expression and posing. It feels like it says a lot about her character and what she's like. For some reason, I want her to sound like Dolly Parton. I love it. I did try to go a little bolder with the shading. It looks really nice. I think you need to keep this up because it looks so cool and aesthetic. Yeah, I feel like for her, there's like a really good balance between her different colors, because like I like how you've got the red of like her eyes and the shirt, and it contrasts really well with just like the green of the piece and with her hair, but like the yellow still has like a bit of that green to it, and the orange on the shading brings in the red. It's just really well balanced. How do I submit stuff? So if you'd like to have your artwork looked at, you can sign up for our Patreon. There's a link down below. And there's also lots of other perks if you sign up for the Patreon. But if you submit your stuff, we unfortunately can't look at it this stream, but we can look at it next month. Just because we need some time to look at it so that we're not giving you crappy advice. But yeah, really great color and shading. I agree. I really like the bold lines on this. I think, yeah. What is it? What is the quality that I'm seeing here? What am I thinking? Yeah, I think the lines here, they just feel really, like, confident. And I love, like, the thickness to them. I think here on Pierce, they feel a little bit more sketchy and disconnected, but on Aurora, it feels very deliberate, very deliberate, very strong, bold, I guess. Yeah, just the inking style here is really nice. Yeah, it feels very confident. What else am I thinking? Yeah, just really great modeling of the forms. I think there's some minor issues. Like I find the hand that she has in her pocket, it looks a little small. Whereas the fingers on her hand, where she's like throwing the horns, the fingers feel a little bit long, as compared to the palm. But I think otherwise, proportionally, it works pretty well. The arms and hands are way too hard. I understand. We all been there. But yeah, it looks really great. Really great use of color and shading. And really bold, strong line work. You should have seen the originals! Oh no! But yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Ooh. Oh, I think you've also done a good job with making her look like an older character, just with like the lines on her face as well. That's great. Awesome. So finally, we have Marcus Turner. He's a newbie recruit to the team. He'll be the goalie and is a student and librarian. Okay. She's 46. Yeah, she definitely looks like an older character. Okay, but let's see. Marcus here. So yeah, same thought about the black clothing. It just makes things feel very flat as compared to other shading stuff. I won't go too much into it because I've already talked about it. I think there's a bit of like a visual illusion happening just because his skin tone and the way you've shaded it is very close to the orange in the back. So here on the pants where you've got the lace work and then the open sides on the pants, his skin tone really blends into the background, so it looks like his legs are skinnier and then there's like blank space behind these the lace stuff. So that's just something to keep in mind for the future with making sure you've got good contrast going. Like, I like how you've aligned the orange to kind of match like the rest of his color palette with this kind of red orange stuff going through. But yeah, but just watch out for contrast issues like that. I also find, in comparison to his body, his head feels very large and his neck feels very thick. Whereas like his body feels very small in comparison. Probably should have made the background a contrasting color. Yeah, that can be helpful for that stuff. Oh right, as for the personality, he looks like you know, the character archetype where they're very like reserved and like too cool. Gives me that vibes, like doesn't emote a lot, like is very quiet. The quiet, cool type. But yeah, I think the color palette is strong. Like you've got just like a good balance between, I guess, like the black kind of gray brown colors, like with his hair and the hoodie and stuff, and then these like the highlights of like the bright orange and red, I think work really well. It's very cohesive. Ice bear archetype. Get all the personalities right. Awesome. I think you're doing a good job with like showing the personalities. Hello. He was originally hunched a little bit, so I changed that. Okay, I can see that kind of messing with the proportions. But yeah, I think you've done a good job with modeling the forms with your line work. Like I like how you've got the what would it be? The folds, I guess, on the pocket to show that like his hands are in his pockets. And yeah, I think you've done a good job with showing that. How do you enter art to get critiqued? If you would like your stuff critiqued, you can sign up for our Patreon. There should be a link down below. Unfortunately, we won't be able to look at it this stream. We'll have to do it the next time we do a critique stream. Just because we need time to like look at your designs and come up with good feedback and stuff. But yeah, check that out. Yeah, again, I think your ink work feels very confident on this one. I really like the bold, really thick line work. And I really like the highlights on his face. I think you've done a good job with like modeling the form that way. Like you can see like the edge of his cheek and stuff and like on his nose. Yeah. I'd recommend, I don't know, it's hard because like you want a good balance of using the really dark like black ink shadows and then also having shading with the color. I don't know, I think you've done a pretty good job. You might want to go in and do some like darker shadows here and there. Just because like in this case his face is shadowed by the sweater. So yeah, so whether that's bringing in more highlights or darkening the shadows on him a little bit, I think that might help with the effect of being like shadowed in the hood. You can also play around. So when something oh, I learned the term for it recently, but I've totally forgotten it. When you have an object that's casting a shadow onto something. So in this example, the hood is casting a shadow onto his face. So since the hood is so close to his face, the shadow would be less diffused and more sharp, and would follow the shape of the hood a bit more. So that's something you can play around with, because right now it's very diffused, it's very soft shading on him. You could use some harder shadows just because the hood is so close to his face, and you could have some fun playing around with the shading on that. But yeah, let me know if you have any other questions on that one. Forgot to ask if the logo takes away from the characters. I don't think so. Do you mean the logo here? Down at the bottom? I don't think so. Yeah. Because throughout, like, I noticed the logo, but it didn't pull my attention away. Thanks for all the tips. They're helpful. Awesome. We'll keep up the great work. Okay, so next was Alice. Sorry, so we have Alice and then Ink and Bunny. All right, Alice. You're next. Okay, all right. Congrats on the new job and house and cats. That's awesome. All right, okay, so you feel like your drawing is very stiff. You're focusing on improving your design skills. First piece is a D&D character, Erafil. She's a high elf necromancer who uses her necromancy knowledge. Oh, that's cute. She helps the undead adjust to being stuck in the mortal realm. Has little care for living things. Connects the undead more. Strong sense of loyalty to the people she does connect with. So a general critique. Okay. So I think, so first off, I think there's a lot of really good structure in the face. I like how you've got, honestly throughout, I like how you've got different colors, in there. Like you've got this like purple for the shadow, and you've got these like blushes, and like reds throughout. I guess they're like pinks, but like this reddy pink, throughout, and then highlights on top of that. And I think in the face especially, you've done a really good job of like modeling the form, keeping the contrast working really well between like the shadows and the highlights, and everything just feels really structured there. I also really like the expression as well. I think it shows a lot of character. Yeah, I think throughout you've got like a good understanding of like adding in highlights and shadows. I like how you've got some good high contrast like throughout the figure. Yeah, so good use of light and stuff. I think there's some places where I think there is a bit of a problem with the character really blending in with the background, because the background is like the exact same color as her outfit. And I feel like some of it's like deliberate. Like I think it's really interesting how you have this like really dark shadow like surrounding her legs. You've got these really stark shadows like throughout, which is really interesting. And it does create like a bit of a mood blending into the background, but I think there's places where it, I don't know, it kind of overwhelms like the figure. So it's something to watch out for. Like, you really lose the cloak, especially in the background. So yeah, so that's something to watch out for. I think there's also some places where the shadows feel a bit weird. I noticed it mostly with the hair, because I feel like you've got the shading on the face done really well, where you've got some really nice highlights, some like subtle shadows, and then darker shadows like cast from the hair, because the light's shining in from like above. But you've got this dark spot right here at the top of the hair where there would be more highlight because the light would be hitting it here. Like I like how you're showing the form of the hair where you've got shadow, I guess showing like the curve of her hair where it's like shadows at the root and then highlight and stuff. But it feels a bit too dramatic. I think it needs to be like pulled back a bit. Because I like it through like the curls in her hair, like as it goes over her shoulder and stuff. So yeah, so just something to be careful. It gets a little too dark here at the top. Yeah, I think we lose some of the form down here, though I do like how you've got a mix of like really stark shadows and then more kind of like gradient, soft, kind of diluted shadows towards the bottom. But I think there would be more light kind of shining down on her feet, just from the way the light source is. Yeah, and I think just there's some details up here that get very lost, like the right in here at her shoulder, like you've got some nice highlights on the arm and the cloth. I especially love the shading here on the like gold pieces on her outfit. Like you've got a lot of like different colors going on in there. There's some really nice like gradients into the highlights that make it feel really shiny. Really great contrast on the purple. But yeah, but in here it kind of blends into the background, and I'd love to see like some backlighting or something defining the edges a little bit more. Yeah, I really like how you've added in different colors. Like I like how you've brought in this really like violety red into the purples. It's not just all the same color throughout. Like you did very well with the skin. I do feel like sometimes I run into places I don't know how to shade, so I just put something down. That's totally fair. I mean, yeah, that's like a good place to start when you're trying to figure out what to do. I'd recommend doing some studies like it's hard because you probably won't find something in this exact pose and lighting and color, but find like as similar as you can and do some studies about like where the highlights hit, contrast studies, where the shadow fits. It probably will help you if you look into yeah, just doing some studies about like where the shadow falls when you're in kind of like the spotlight effect. But yeah, lots of lovely detail in the shading. Um Yeah, your color palette's very cohesive. Like I like the use of the purple, and then you've brought in some reds, and good contrast with like the gold through the hair and the what would you call it? The details, like the belt and the hem and stuff. We need more mods. We do. We need our mod friends. Yeah. Did you have any questions in particular that you wanted me to cover? That is a good question, Doku. I don't know what these bots are up to. They're up to bot trouble. They are persistent. Like, it'll be a while with, like, nothing, and then they'll just show up and have random letters. I don't know. I think so. I haven't made art in so long. I just wanted to make something. It looks really nice. It's a really great, like, it's got so much detail in it. Really, like, dramatic lighting in it. Like, I think it's really great for getting back into art and stuff after a break. I think you've done a really good job. So sorry, just looking at your comments for the next one. So first attempt at line work in a long time. NPC okay, so it's an NPC that Raphael has surprisingly fallen in love with. Oh my god, his name, Tiberius Cornelius Brian Maximilius Applesauce. So he lost his identity to a god. His loss of identity was interrupted. Sorry, it was interpreted as him losing his physical body and becoming animate clothes. Okay. Looking for general critiques. Okay, so he's made of clothing. Oh, you finished and thought it's the worst thing you've made? Oh no, I'm sorry. That is the worst feeling. So I think you shouldn't be so hard on yourself about it. Our DM liked it. It's cute. It's very like what's the word? Like full of character, if that makes sense. Like it's very full of personality. I think just through through the posing and expression. A friendly lad, wholesome vibes. Exactly. We stan. But just through the expression, I think there's lots of movement going on. I think you're being too hard on yourself here. Like especially with the kind of floatiness to the like end of his jacket. Like I really like a lot of the folds going on in here. I really like the folds here in the arms. Especially like understanding who the character is now. I like how there's some kind of like formlessness and like sagginess to his limb, like his arms here, and then there's other places where like it's more articulate, like in his hands. And I like how like he's kind of like squished together a little bit with just the different like disparate pieces of clothing and stuff. So yeah, so I think you've done a good job here. I think with the line work, there's parts of it that I think really work well. Like, you've got an interesting mix of like some places where the lines are very thick and it implies like a shadow, and some places where it's like thinner, like on the folds here, that show I guess less shadow, which I think in future pieces like lean into that a lot more, because you've got these very like bold lines, and I'd love to see more of that from you. And really play around with like your line weight and what it means. I like a lot of the shadow work too that you've done with these screen tones. I find the face feels a little bit flat, just because there's you've got like all these like lovely folds. You've got these like subtle shadows going on the different folds. I especially like it like right in here, like right on this shoulder here, where you've got like a few different shades going through. But whereas like the underside of like the jacket feels flat, and the head feels a bit flat. When it comes to line work, I struggle knowing when it's bad and when it's not. I find what makes really good line work is, I think, confidence. So there's places where like in here, like around the hands and like the hem of his sleeve, where it feels a bit more cautious, where like you have lines kind of like overlapping each other. They feel less confident. And they feel a bit stiff, I think, when that happens, when you're using like lots of little tiny lines to make a single line, or like it looks like in some places you've like gone back and gone over them. It feels a bit more sketchier. Where there's places like the shoulder here, like the fold in the clothing and stuff, like on the lapels and stuff, it just feels a bit more confident because you're using one line to create it, which creates it creates very like strong lines. It keeps them from getting interrupted as well. I play around with like line weights. If you're not sure like what looks good and what doesn't, find like an artist you really like whose inky line work stuff you really enjoy, and try copying what they do. I found that helped me when I was figuring out how to ink. I was like, I really like X person, so I'm gonna try and recreate their line work. And that's just a really good place to start if you're not sure. When I'm doing more painterly art, I can hide places I don't feel comfortable with. I'm trying to line work, I'm not sure what line is supposed to look. Treating line weight like shadows helped me a lot. Sometimes it just looks awkward. I think you'll get there. You'll get there. It also helps, I think, also when you're learning to do line work, it can help to work with like a really thin brush. Like you'd want it to still allow like line weight. You don't want it to be like all one. Sorry, I thought there was a cat under me. Under my chair. Right, sorry. So using a thinner brush, I think sometimes when we use a really thick brush, we can use it to come across as like very stylistic. I know I do this whenever I'm like feeling lazy with my line art personally. If I'm using a really thick brush, I try to get away from like having really nice lines by just relying on like thickness to kind of hide it. It doesn't work. it can hinder things. And that isn't to say thick line work is bad. There's lots of places where it works really well, like Kuro's stuff with really thick lines made things feel very bold. My thin lines are so wobbly. What helps with the wobble is working really fast. So if you can learn how to draw use as little lines as possible and draw them quickly, the more quickly you move your hand or your arm, the straighter it'll be. If you go really slow, it gets very wobbly. And I find sometimes to get a line correct, I'll have to sit down and reline it a few times. So Control Z is like a big friend, or an eraser. And yeah, I just found that really helpful, where I'll draw a line, I'm like, oh, I don't like it. Control Z, do it again. Oh, I like that. And you'll get better as you go. Yeah. Hopefully that's helpful. Yeah, do you have any other questions on that? Very helpful. Awesome. So yeah, let me know if you have any other questions for this one. Not for that? Okay, awesome. I'll just close these. Okay, so I really like your design for this one. For this title card. Castophora is the... oh, okay. At night, the world turns upside down. Okay. Okay, and when it's night, the undead and nocturnal citizens come out of hiding. Okay. The hours on the open signs also reflect this duality. A general critique. Okay, awesome. Well, I really like the design for this. The colors are very strong. I really love the contrast between this like very light like yellow and the really like saturated kind of orangey gold here in the back, and then this very... I like how it's inverted. So the castle becomes this like really dark saturated blue, and then the face of the clock goes a lot lighter. I think you've got this... it's just like really good contrast between these two, and you get that sense of duality. I do also really like the kind of blue shadow and outline, and then the kind of orangey red shadow as well. I think you've just got really good contrast going on. The colors between these two feel very cohesive. And yeah, just really great work with inverting things. The silhouette also looks really great. Very balanced, while still being like visually interesting. I will say, color-wise, for the board in the middle, the sign, I like the general style of it. The placement of like the welcome and the times, I think, is done well. It adds like a little bit of like organicness to this very like what am I saying? it adds some what are the words? What am I trying to say? I guess they just adds like visual interest from this like inverted look with the castles and the clocks. The coloring on the board, I'm not sure if it works. I think the gold on the lettering works. It's good contrast against the purple. And I like the use of the purple on the signs and the outlines. I think it helps make them stand out. I'm not sure about the brown though. Is it brown? It's kind of like a purpley brown. It just feels very dull in comparison to the rest. It doesn't... I think the contrast is there. Like, it's the right darkness so that the lettering stands out, and it stands out against the background elements. But I feel like the color's just, like, not quite there. I'm not sure if you need to, like, make it, like, a darker purple, or maybe bring in some of the blue here. It's not quite there. Should have made the sign more saturated? Possibly. Yeah, I think it's like, it's a good darkness, but yeah, maybe saturating it a little bit more might help. Yeah, maybe introduce some of the blue, because you've got the orange and gold going through on the lettering, but it would be interesting to see, like, maybe using the blue from the nighttime as like a shadow, possibly, might help. I'd also recommend changing the light purple outline and going with something darker. Play around with it. I'm not actually sure if the darker outline would work really well, but play around with it. I think it could be aligned color-wise a little bit better to the blue and gold. Whether that's using like a really dark blue or really dark orange or a really dark purple, something in there. I'd be curious to see what it looks like. The only other thing I'd recommend is maybe giving a little bit more breathing room to the small text, like a little bit more padding around the edges, as compared to the text. Found the darker outline blended with the dark castle. Also, I originally had a black background. I probably should have sent that one instead. Yeah, it's hard to say. Yeah, on a dark background, it probably looks better. Yeah, okay. If I were you, I'd just play around with the color of the sign instead of the outline and just see what you can get there. But I do stand by adding a little bit more padding on the hourly signs and the welcome sign. Yeah. Because you're right, I can see it blending in with the castle, which could be an issue. Yeah, it looks really great. I really like seeing your design stuff, your graphic design stuff. It always looks so cool. I really like the like the embossed look on the main title here. It looks really cool. Yeah. Let me know if you have any other questions on that one. No more questions? Awesome. Well, thanks for submitting, Alice. It's good to see you back. And hopefully we see you next month as well. Okay, so we have Bunny and Ink. If either one of you is here, I saw Bunny earlier. If either one of you is here and would like critiques, let me know. Speak now, or forever hold your peace. Heck yeah, Ink, you're here? Okay, awesome. You spoke first, so you get it. You get you get the spot. Okay. Oh, and Bunny is here. Okay, we'll do Ink and then Bunny. Okay, so I'm looking for a critique on 2 works. The first is an OC I drew recently. Number 1, what vibes does she give off? 2, how is the text placement? 3, color scheme. And 4, any simplifications or tweaks that would improve the design. Okay. Ink had the faster internet, exactly. Okay, so color, wait, oh my god, I've forgotten the order of the questions already. Okay, first, the vibes, the vibe check. So she gives off the, okay, she looks like she's kind of like a soft girl. If that makes sense. Like, she gives me the vibe of like a paladin. Kind of like paladin healer type, like a soft uwu cutie who's like kind of awkward and like well-meaning. Yeah, and I get that kind of like from her expression where she's got this like pose that's very like yeah, guys, come on, we could do it. Like but the expression is like a little unsure about herself. So yeah, really like it. Those are the vibes I get. Hopefully that makes sense. And I think it's the color palette that's giving me like healer vibes. It's just very like soft and like because it's kind of pastel. I don't know. I think I just associate blue with healing, but that's just me. How is the text placement? So the text is nice and legible, which is awesome. I think it works well for this like character sheet. Where like you clearly have like the title, which is her name. Yeah, it's all pretty easy to read. The only thing I'd recommend is when you have like a list going like this with like the plus and minuses or like bullet points or numbered bullets or anything, I'd recommend aligning the text so that you have like your bullets and then a space and then following. So like don't let it wrap around so it sits right under the bullet, like where it says super soldier. I'd push it over to the right a little bit so it's aligned with absolute and carries, just because that helps keep it it keeps it aligned. It keeps it like it makes it look a little cleaner. So that's just something to watch out for with your typography. Um, but other than that, it's very legible. I think the placement works great. I like how you have this little like section pulled out that like fits in with the background. And yeah, it's just, and I like how it wraps around her form as well, the text, which is lovely. So yeah, good work on that. The color scheme. So the color scheme is very it's very nice. It's very soft. It works well together. I like how you've got the this kind of like more green blue, and then you've got this very like cyan blue, and you're just using various like shades of them throughout. Like I like how you've brought like the green into her hair, and then the underclothes, and then the cyan is kind of like used throughout like the more like plated armor stuff and on her weapon. It's got, I think you've got good contrast on the shadow work throughout, like especially on the armor. I like how you've got these like darker shadows, and then these like really light highlights. I think in general though, you could have more contrast between the different like elements of her outfit. So whether that's like lightening up the armor or darkening the underclothes, something like that, just because like it's all very kind of mid-tone. So just getting contrast between like the different sections of the outfit would probably be helpful. But the color choice in itself I think works really well. Like I like how there's like good contrast on her eyes, where you're using this very like bright like turquoisey color that like matches the hair and stuff, but it's very saturated and dark, and I think you just need more contrast with that, like bring that kind of color in elsewhere, that like intensity possibly. So hopefully that makes sense. And simplifications and tweaks that would improve the design. So the contrast would definitely help. I appreciate that she is an absolute unit. She's really cute. Yeah, I love the flowy hair. It adds like femininity to her design, where like otherwise she's wearing like very bulky armor. So yeah, so I like what it adds there. Simplifications. I think things are pretty simple. Yeah, the contrast would definitely help. I think there's something kind of formless about like her like hips area, where you can see like the folds of the underclothing, but it feels very flat, and I feel like bringing in like belts or modeling the forms a little bit more, like to highlight kind of like the curve of like her torso might help. It just feels very flat right here, because you've got like some good shape to like the breastplate and like in her hair and on her legs and stuff. It's just like right here feels a little bit flat. Simplifications or anything off about the design. I think that's the big part, is just the flatness here. I think her legs feel a little bit off kilter. Like her legs feel like they're facing towards the side, but her upper half feels like it's facing kind of 3/4 to the camera. I'd do some studies about like feet placement. It helps to put down a grid. I find when you're trying to like stand a character on a surface, it helps to put down a grid. I've also heard it's good to like put an X below your character's feet, and that kind of helps place them as well. But yeah, play around with that. I'd study up on that. Yeah. But I find her upper half looks really, really nice, and then I find the legs feel a little bit off here and there. Yeah, so I think to help with the design a little bit, I like how there's like two shapes kind of going through. There's this like diamondy sharp edges kind of shape going through a lot of her armor. Like you've got diamonds on like the hip plates and like along the breastplate and on the knees and stuff. There's like little hints of like that kind of sharp edge diamond stuff like on the weapon and the gauntlets and stuff. But then you also have this like kind of curved softness like in the hair, with her kind of body type like not being super angular. She's more kind of like soft shaped generally. I feel like the softness needs to be brought through her body a little bit more. Like I think you could do some interesting contrast with like making like underneath the armor, having her like really giving her these really soft shapes, like maybe round out her hips more. Same with the arms, like adding a bit more roundness and stuff. And then the armor on top being more of that kind of like pointed diamond look might help. With some of the getting that like I think that just might help with like the shapes a little bit more, because they feel a little bit all over the place, where right now her top half feels very round and the bottom half feels very like sharp and spiky. So I think you just need to find some balance throughout. Yeah. So hopefully that makes sense. Do you have any questions on that? I feel like the armor could connect a bit more. I agree. I mostly notice it like here at the bottom, where it feels like there just needs some like a belt or something to show it kind of attaching. Makes sense? Awesome. Cool. Well, let me know if there's anything else that I didn't cover. I can move on to the next piece. Okay, so you're still working on the line art. So it's a giant boar. General feedback on the anatomy and what's drawn. In the comp, the tiny things on the bottom are horse riders. Oh, okay, I see. So like the size comparison. How are the trees looking? How's the boar's texture looking? Advice on making it look like it's covered in soil and dirt. Okay. So yeah, so I really like the use of like the people on horses for scale. I think that's like a really effective tool for that. Yeah, it's a really cool design. I really like this idea of this like giant animal like covered in like forests and mountains and stuff. Um, I think I think for the most part you've done a good job with like the scale of things. I think the only thing that kind of throws me off a bit is like the size of the mountains, like the craggy rock stuff. Like it feels I think so I noticed it with the trees and with the mountains and stuff on the boar. They feel like a little bit too uniform to me. Um so I think you have some really great pieces where there's like these like formations of the trees like with the tail. I really like the section up here where these like big trees sticking out. Um but I find like across the body, the trees feel like kind of just like dotted at like very similar intervals throughout it. And it feels a little what would you call it? It just creates like it just becomes a little bit like floaty, I guess. Like it doesn't feel quite as visually interesting, if that makes sense. It helps to really group things. So like with the trees and stuff, like find pieces where you can really like group them together, and like reduce the amount of like single one-off trees throughout. Because that'll you can create like I guess more movement throughout. Stampy, yeah, it looks a bit like a stamp. So like grouping things together can really help get rid of that effect. I think also play around with like the size and shape of the rocks, the Rocky Mountain kind of stuff on the back. Like pick some places to have like a really high peak and then like some valleys. They feel just like a little bit too uniform right now. And play around with that. Yeah, as for covering it with like soil and stuff, I really like how you have these kind of like roots kind of hanging off like the bottom. And I think with the dirt and stuff, I think a lot of it will come down to texture. Like adding a lot of like shadow underneath like different clumps of like soil and rock will really help. And you can show like using like stippling or like some dusty brushes, you can show like swaths of like soil falling off. Parts of the body that don't have friction would be good for grouping. Yeah, totally. Like, yeah, definitely. Like if the leg is gonna be moving against like the underside of the belly, like there'd probably be like less vegetation there. Yeah, where places on top would probably have more kind of like trees grouped together. That's a good point. Yeah, if you're looking for good references, like I'd look into like looking at cliff faces, especially ones where like I'm sure you can find cliff faces and mountains where you can see like vegetation growing throughout, or places where like I don't know, some of the cliff has just like fallen, so you can see like into the dirt and rock and tree roots and plant and vegetation kind of like woven into it. I think that would really help with creating that kind of texture and understanding like where to put shadows and stuff, and what that really looks like. Avatar vibes. I can see it. Yeah, like with some of these trees and stuff, like this section, like right here, like bring in some like verticalness to it. I think that would really help you. Like it can add depth to some of this, and using lots of variation in like the size and shape. Like you do it really well like up at the top. I just like to see it more kind of like down the side and stuff. Yeah. It's a really cool idea. I would also be careful with the hooves. So the hooves, they shouldn't bend, because it's like a nail that they stand on. So you can have like the ankle bend and stuff, but be careful with like, I noticed it mostly here on this like back leg and then this one at the front, where they have a bit of a bend, like a bend in them, like they're flimsy. I would just straighten them out. They shouldn't bend that way while they're walking, because it's like solid. It's like the same as like, I don't know, a bone or a nail or something. Like it's not flexible the way like a paw is. So that's just something to be mindful of. Sorry, what other comments were there? Yeah, for the soil and stuff textures, I think part of it is using, yeah, you want to show the texture of like different clumps of soil. So sometimes soil can be very compact, so you'll get more like kind of rectangles and diamond shapes in it, and sometimes it can be more kind of like round and clumpy, where it's kind of disintegrating a bit, if that makes sense, where it's falling apart more. So you can use a cool mix of that. And yeah, treat it the same way you treat like when you're shading hair. Like instead of shading every single little strand of hair, you'll do like locks of hair and add like a shadow there, to simplify things and make things look like not too busy. So treat the soil and the shading the same way. So choose like a chunk of something and add like a shadow there, instead of doing like every little individual grain, I guess. Hopefully all that makes sense. Do you have any other questions on this one, Ink? Really cool idea. I think that's all of it. Awesome. Well, thanks for submitting. All right. Last but not least. All right. So, Bunny, my friend. So you've got some character designs. So they're from earlier in the process than previous stuff you've shown. So is this from the same comic as... It was the siblings? No. Sorry, not a sibling. There was like the character with the white hair and the dark-haired character, and they were mages or something. I'm vaguely remembering this. Okay. Oh, nice, Van Allen. Congrats on inking your pages. That's awesome. All right. So this is one character with two different gender presentations. Okay. So they're named Cedar or Citra. My dear gender fluid mess. Oh, we stan. We love. Like everyone in the story, they truly believe their path is the path of least harm, but of course it puts them at odds with the protagonist. So the first one, she is more femme and more formal, though they do appear mask and formal. I gotta start somewhere with designs. Okay. And here he is more mask and less formal in the second one. Okay. Formality isn't a prerequisite to their gender presentation. It's how they first appear. Okay, so then the second one is how they first appear. Okay. The internet's really slow? Oh no. Okay, but that's the comic. Alright. Okay. Okay, so you're looking for any design feedback and you've been struggling. Okay. Do you mind telling me what you've been struggling with? Like, I can give you my impressions for now, but if you just let me know like what you're unsure about, I can comment on things a bit better. But yeah, so first off, I really like their design. I think you've got a good sense of their shapes. Like they're made of these very like flowy, long, slender shapes. Like you see it in their hair, in their body type, in a lot of the clothing they're choosing. I love this outfit, by the way, this formal outfit. With the really long sleeves. There's this kind of like arrow shape going. Not an arrow. It's like a really long diamond shape. So I really like how you've got it going in the sleeves, in the tassels, in the how the cloak falls. There's just all these like nice little triangle shapes like throughout the design. And in their hair. I like how their eyes are made out of these like elongated points. So that comes through really strong. Even like how their ears are kind of pointed and diamond shaped. That's really cute. Yeah, I think I don't know. I have mixed feelings about the fur collar. I think I like it. It gives this very like regal, strong presence, especially having this like really big collar piece on their outfit. It creates like a lot of power and they have a very like strong silhouette with it. I'm just not sure if the way the fur is shaped, if it fits in with the rest of the aesthetic, because it's very rounded off, where the rest of them is very pointed. So you could work on making it more jagged. You could also work on elongating it more, like giving it like sharpening the silhouette of it so it follows that like elongated diamond shape. That might help you out. As a minor nitpick, there's some wobbliness with this leg here, where the ankle feels a little bit wobbly. So just something to pay attention for the future. Could push the collar back a bit. Yeah, definitely. So as for their less formal presentation, yeah, I think you've still got the... Is it? Okay, so it looks like their formal attire just has like the cloak and some jewelry added on top. Where this is like they still have that kind of tunic with like the tie around the waist and then the high boots. We've gone through a lot of revisions. I guess I'm worried they're muddled through all of my ideas for them, if that makes sense. Okay, I can see that, yeah, when you're working on a character for a long time. Yeah, I find with their, I think some of their shapes come through stronger in this, like, the more formal version you've sent through, where, like, especially in the face, like, their face feels, in this version, it feels like it follows that, like, elongated diamond shape. It feels, like, a little bit longer, where here, like, their eyes feel, like, a little bit, like, taller, and more kind of, like, wide-eyed, I guess. And, like, their face feels more rounded out. Also, the anatomy has been, oh no. If that's just me trying to draw them tall. It could be you're, like, through elongating things, you're maybe making, some of the joints, like, too slender. It's hard. I have that trouble too with, like, drawing tall characters. Or sometimes it feels like they just get, like, stretched out a little bit too much. Yeah, I'd see possibly, like, see how much you can trim back, like making their legs, like, a little bit shorter or their arms a little bit shorter, and just see, like, if you can get it, like, a little bit, like, trimmed down but still feel tall. Like, play around with it and see how it comes out. But yeah, but in this version they just feel like a little bit more rounded out, whereas in the first version they feel like more slender and elongated. So that's just something to keep in mind. I do like the added, like, curls to the hair. I think you can keep that because it keeps that kind of, like, jagged diamond shape. I'd honestly push, like, the jaggedness a little bit to fit in with, like, this design here. But I do like how there's some, like, extra bounce in their hair, and they still read as, like, the same character. Through that, let me just see. Yeah, so I think things just need to be, like, sharpened up with them. I can see the difference between them there. I'll try and pull them closer together. Yeah, I think that will help you. Yeah, because I kind of like their hair is, like, more kind of, like, bouncy and lively with this presentation, and then for the more formal it's, like, more, like, straightened out, I guess. I think we're on the last one. Yeah. I'm trying to think of, like, because I definitely see, like, I read this version as more femme and then this version as more masc, but I'm having trouble figuring out why. It might just be the silhouette of the clothing, honestly. Where this is a lot more like dress-like, I guess. Where this is more, you know, like pants and a tunic and stuff. But yeah, I would say yeah, just sharpen them up a little bit. Bring in those lovely triangle shapes you got going. The eyeliner vibes, I can see that as well. Yeah. And it looks like in this design, like their lip is like a little bit more defined. But yeah, I really like this design, honestly. I think you could bring in some more like details into some of the clothing as well. Like I'd love to see, I guess, like something to bring in some texture on like the pants and the boots and the tunic. Whether that's like, I don't know, a stitched pattern or like a, I don't know, jewelry or I don't know, color blocking or something. And same with the robe over top, just to bring in like a little bit more detail into things. Because there's a lot of detail like around their face with like the jewelry and like the details in their hair. And I'd like to see that kind of throughout. Just a little bit more detail here and there. Oh, and the heels. Yeah. Okay. Do you have any questions, Bunny? Anything I covered or didn't cover? I mean, can Def add more texture? Yeah. I think it'll help. Yeah. Also, we love the villain attitude. I know they're like a more ambiguous, but we love the antagonist vibes. I think that gives me enough to make some more revisions. Helps a bunch. Awesome. Well, yeah, let me know if there's anything else. They're a beautiful character. I want to see more of them. Same. Everyone's just been killing it with their character designs. My goodness. Awesome. Well, that's it. We made it. We did it. Like I've said a few times during the stream, if you would like your designs critiqued, your comic scripts, your writing, your comic pages, character designs, illustrations, whatever it is, if you'd like us to take a look at it, you can sign up for our Patreon. There should be a link down below, and we'll see you next time. Also, subscribe. It would help us out a lot. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, everybody. This was lovely and really fun. And we'll see you guys later. Goodbye.